What happens next in Europe? It is a question we're putting right now to our friend Danny Blanchflower. He's an economist at Dartmouth College up in New Hampshire. He's also a Bloomberg contributing editor. Danny is a former member of the Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee. Danny, let me ask you this before we get to what happens. Have the Europeans simply run out of options at this point?
I think they have. You and I have been talking about this for a year. They had a chance maybe a year ago. They had a chance when the crisis was in Greece before it had spread. Now the tide's coming in and it's too late. They really are now in a position where essentially I heard people this morning talking for the first time. It really feels this week like panic set in.
Okay, panic is setting in. If they've run out of options, it effectively leaves them with about two choices, doesn't it? On the one hand, there's talk of this fiscal union, the United States of Europe, whatever you want to call it. On the other hand, saving the euro by making it smaller, getting rid of Greece, getting rid of Portugal, getting rid of Ireland, getting rid of Spain, maybe Italy. Are either of those viable solutions?
Eric, I think those options, in a sense, are down the road. None of that's going to happen this week. The question, in a sense, is, we're going to be doing this during this week. How do they get to Monday? You can't sort out fiscal union by Monday. There's probably nothing very, very structured that's going to come. They had a chance a year ago. We were just saying maybe 20 years ago. So the problem now is, how do you get to tomorrow? How do you get to Monday? And I'm afraid the markets no longer believe that's possible. And all these bets where everyone thought the euro was going to fall, now that's actually happening. So I think it's all too little too late. They have to get to the next day.
Danny, you've been a policymaker. You were on the MCP at the Bank of England. You're now an advisor to the Boston Fed. You've watched financial markets respond, react to developments. I don't know if anything's quite akin to this. What do you think is going to happen next? We talk about Greece, we talk about Germany, but they're not the only two dominoes to fall.
They're not the only two dominoes to fall. It has a really big feeling about the fall of 2008. What we actually got, which prevented real collapse and calamity, was global action, central banks and governments acting together. The fear right now is that will not happen. So it's really very hard to predict where we're going. But the sense was, I think, that panic was in the air in fall of 08, but everybody was, pumped. They were all ready and acting. The worry I have now is that will has gone, that ability has gone, the politics have got in the way. So it just feels very bad. It feels like 2008, and the worry is now Ferguson's talked about the fact that it might even be 1931. Goodness me. Okay,
so you said it's all about getting to next Monday, a week from today. How do we get there? What do the Europeans need to do? You can't, we've heard it a million times, can't kick the can down the road any longer.
They can't kick it down the road any longer. And I think the Germans are starting to realize the line I would say is what they've said so far is you're on your own, pal. Well, you're not on your own. We know that there's a contagion spreading from Greece to German banks, but look today, they're at French banks, and they've also been at British banks. And the problem is you've got Greece, you let Greece default. What do you do about Portugal? What do you do about Italy? And ultimately, what do you do about France? So you can kick it down the road. Should have dealt with Greece 18 months ago. Now the problem is you just can't let it go. I mean, and we're looking at share prices absolutely collapsing at these banks.
Danny, always good to hear your thoughts. Danny Blanchflower on Europe's shared destiny.